Hi guys, so I'm sorry that I haven't made a video in like nearly a month now. It's been quite a while since the last time that I posted on here. I'm sorry about that, but at the moment like it's been kind of hectic in my life and like I've not had much time to make videos. I went on a family holiday and then it was like the Easter holidays, so like my whole family was in the house, so I couldn't really like have time to film. And then like now at the moment at university it's actually exam season, so like I'm just like swamped with assessments and exams again now, and I'm trying to get all that done as well. But I just had a small bit of time today to make this video, so I thought I'd come on here and talk to you guys because like I've not talked to you all in quite a while. And the reason why I'm talking to you guys today, as you can tell by the title of this video, is because of something that's going on at the moment in the Louis fandom. And as you can tell by the title, the topic of today's video is Louis Tomlinson being blacklisted by the BBC. So it got revealed a couple of days ago that Louis has been blacklisted. So Lisa Wilkinson is the person who does like all of the sort of marketing and promo stuff for Louis, and she did all that stuff for the campaign for Faith in the Future being released. And she did like an interview with like some publication online about like the music industry and like how album campaigns worked, and she talked a lot about like Louis not getting radio airplay and stuff like that. And from this interview we've got so much insight into like what went on with Louis being on the radio, and ultimately in this interview she sort of like let it slip that Louis is actually blacklisted. She didn't say the word blacklisted exactly, but like she insinuated it, and like we've all kind of known that he's been blacklisted for a while now. So like this is basically the proof now that we've got. So when she was talking about the campaign for Faith in the Future to promote the album, she talked about how she targeted radio. Like she was trying to get Louis radio play and promo on the radio. She said that BMG sent Bigger Than Me to BBC Radio and she tried to get it added to their playlist. Like they didn't seem to want to play it. She sent Bigger Than Me to like BBC Radio and she made like the radio host listen to the song, and apparently like she had to show it them without like telling them who made the song. She was just like, listen to this, see if you like it. And all of the radio hosts said that like it would be a perfect song for radio and like they loved it and they would want to add it to the playlist. But then when it was revealed to them that the song was by Louis, like they didn't want to play it anymore apparently. Their opinions changed immediately, she said. She also told us that people brought the song up during like meetings about playlisting for BBC Radio, but like every time the song came up as a suggestion, like it was blocked straight away. And like the fact that they didn't want to play it anymore, like as soon as they found out that it was a song by Louis, but like they liked it before they knew who it was by, like all of that suggests like a pretty unfair bias towards Louis, and that tells us that like BBC Radio does have something against him. Also, Lisa stated in like her interview that like the first competition that they were up against for radio play was like the other 1D boys apparently. She said that one of the struggles about like getting Louis played on the radio was like the radio maybe having like too many members of One Direction on the playlist at once. But like personally, like I don't really know how that works, because I think at the time like Bigger Than Me was being promoted, like none of the other 1D boys were like promoting any new music really, apart from Harry. And I mean like Harry's just one member of 1D, and like most people these days like don't even remember that he was in One Direction. Like it's so crazy to think that like there's Harry Styles fans now, like young Harry fans, who like don't even know that he was in One Direction. Like they don't even know that he used to be in a band. They literally just think he's Harry Styles, like his own solo artist, because like that's how much of like a megastar he is now. So like Harry Styles isn't even like competition really, he's just like his own thing now. People don't even really associate him with One Direction anymore. So like he's basically not really competition. I mean like Niall at this time didn't even start like the short era yet. Zayn's music, like they don't really play it on the radio. I mean a lot of people also think Zayn is blacklisted, but like that's a whole other thing for another video to talk about. And then like Liam wasn't really releasing music at that point. Really there wasn't really any like competition for Louis to get on the radio. It feels like that was just a bit of an excuse. And all the different 1D members are like completely different genres of music anyway. I mean like Harry's got like his 70s like rock sort of thing going on, like pop music but influenced by 70s rock. Niall's got like his singer-songwriter thing, Zayn's R&B, Liam's like full-on like pop music, and like Louis got his indie rock thing going on. So like they're all completely different. I mean, like, I don't know why like now they're all like established solo artists that you would even like still be thinking about One Direction and like pitting them against each other. Like, it just shouldn't be like that. They're all like completely different individuals now. I mean, like, in the first place, when they all like auditioned for the X Factor, like they all auditioned as solo artists in the first place for a reason. I mean, like, they're all completely different. Like, they all brought their own flavour to like 1D and made 1D what it was, but like they are all solo artists now. But I do feel like the record labels of like each One Direction member, like, they purposely spread out like the boys' individual solo albums like to come out at different times, because then like they don't compete against each other for like radio play or like trying to get a #1 or anything. Like, they wouldn't pit two of the boys against each other. Like I feel like you would never get like two One Direction members' albums coming out in the same week and like fighting for a #1. Like, I do feel like their record labels each like consider like when the other band members' music is coming out and like don't release things at the same time. Like, Harry Styles was promoting Harry's House like in summer 2022, and like winter 2022 was Louis' time to shine, or like it was supposed to be if the radio would play his music. And like spring 2023 now is like Niall's The Show era. So like I feel like they're all at different times, and that also like helps like directioners as well, like who miss all the boys and support all of them. Like, they can get content from all of them and like be satisfied all the time basically. But then regardless of all of that, like, Louis still doesn't get any airplay on the radio. And if you're a Louis, you'll know that like when Silver Tongues was released, like as sort of like a response to Bigger Than Me not getting any airplay, like Louis bombarded Radio 1 with requests to play Silver Tongues on the radio. I mean, if you've heard like the audio of like what happened when like Greg James responded to these requests on Radio 1, like you'll know it was so awkward. He was hosting the breakfast show when like he addressed these requests, and like the second he mentioned Louis' name, like there was literally like 5 entire seconds of like just silence, just like absolute awkward silence, like as he was like looking through the database to try and find the song. Like, it was just like really weird. Like, I don't know why, but like the audio of this happening on the radio, like it kind of like creeps me out a little bit. Like the fact that like it just goes dead silent just because like Greg James mentioned Louis' name. Like, why would that happen? Like, just like everything going quiet just because you've mentioned an artist's name who is like a big popular artist. Like, if it feels awkward mentioning somebody on the radio, like surely that's an indicator that like something's wrong there, something's happening there. And then like when Greg James finally found the song and played it on the radio, like it was just kind of like he was just like, there, here you go, like I've done it now, can you stop bothering me now? Also, like, people were laughing about this as well, like the fact that when they played Silver Tongues on the radio, it was like really overly censored. Like, literally the first lyric of the song, Getting High on the Amber Wave, they literally censored that lyric. It's literally just a lyric about Louis drinking beer with his friends. Like, that just seemed like kind of weird to me. Like, it seemed like they censored it just because it was Louis. I mean, like, there are literally like hundreds of pop songs that like come out every year and get played on the radio that say like getting high in them, not actually talking about drugs, like just saying like feeling happy. And like this lyric in this song is like one of them. Like, it's nothing to do with that. It's just a lyric about being happy, like it's not even like in reference to that. And like there's so many songs on the radio like about going out to the clubs and going drinking and everything. Like, that's literally what most songs are about, most pop songs. Like, that's literally all you hear like all day every day on the radio. So like the fact that they would censor a song about that is like kind of weird. Also, the fact that like in the second verse of Silver Tongues there literally is a lyric that actually does mention drugs, and like that didn't get censored. Like, I don't know, it's just kind of funny. Like, a lot of people were just laughing about it, saying it was just funny. I mean, if you know the song Not a Pop Song by Little Mix, which was released by them after they left Psycho Records themselves, like that's a song where they're all like basically just like exposing Simon for what he did to them, and just like, and it's just like an iconic song. Like, if you don't know Not a Pop Song by Little Mix, go and listen to it. Especially if you're a Louis, I mean, like, you'll really like understand this song more, and like you'll see the parallels between like what happened to Little Mix and like what happened to Louis, and like you'll probably like appreciate it. Like, it'll make you even more angry that like more people went through the same thing with Simon. But anyway, like, my point was that like in the song Not a Pop Song by Little Mix, the chorus of the song says, "This ain't another pop song about falling in love or a party song about drinks and drugs." Like, that just says a lot to me. Like, it suggests that Simon made them write songs about those things. And, like, it's like Simon wanted those themes for a song, but now that, like, Louis is making songs that, like, are about partying and stuff, like, he doesn't want that on the radio. Another example of this is, like, literally Miss You by Louis, like one of his first ever solo singles from, like, ages ago, like 2017 I think that song came out. Like, that song is literally even worse than Silver Tongues in terms of, like, it being about partying and all of that. Like, the lyrics of that song, like, that is like a really, like, hedonistic kind of party song, and, like, they allowed that to be played on the radio, I think, and, like, Louis even performed it at the Royal Variety performance, which is, like, one of the funniest videos ever. Like, Louis just, like, singing this song and trying not to swear and, like, say, like, anything inappropriate, and, like, the Queen's watching this performance as well. Like imagine the royal family having to listen to Miss You by Louis. But yeah, what I was saying was, like, Silver Tongues is such a tame song in comparison to that, and, like, when Louis was on Psycho Records, they promoted Miss You and let him write songs like that. But, like, now he's released Silver Tongues and it's, like, a much more chilled song, literally just about having drinks with friends. Like, I mean, like, it's like the radio were fine with Louis releasing songs like that when he was on Psycho, but, like, they're not fine with him making songs like that when he's on a different record label. Like, that just shows, like, the BBC radio definitely do have something against him. Also, another thing I wanted to say is it's just, like, it's just really unfair to me that, like, people like Louis, who are just, like, trying to make just an honest, like, living out of making music and, like, promote their songs on the radio, like, he's not done anything wrong, and, like, he's just blacklisted for no reason, just because, like, a couple of people who, like, own all of the radio, like, don't like him. Like, why should they have all that power to, like, decide what the public gets to hear? Like, just a couple of people, like, deciding, like, what everyone in the world listens to every day on the radio. Like, that's just crazy to me. It's just, it shouldn't work like that. Like, why? Like, why do they get to say, like, what's good and, like, what we should be listening to? Like, nobody should have that power. Like, the radio should be, like, all public done. Things were better when, like, DJs could just play whatever music they wanted. Like, I miss when the radio was like that. And it's just, like, it's crazy to me that, like, every day I hear songs on the radio that are by artists who have, like, said really offensive things, or, like, actually, like, committed crimes and things like that, and they still get played on the radio when they are the ones who, like, deserve to be blacklisted. Like, there's people who've, like, literally done really bad things, like, in the music industry, and, like, they still get played every day, whereas, like, there's people, like, who haven't even done anything, who don't deserve to be blacklisted, like Louis, and, like, he just, like, he doesn't get played at all, whereas, like, those people do, and it just makes me really mad and, like, really upset. And if you don't know why Louis is blacklisted, basically the person who owns, like, all the BBC radio stations is, like, someone who used to work with Simon Cowell and I think is still, like, really good friends with him, so he would want to, like, do Simon a favour by, like, not allowing Louis to be played on the radio. But we've known that Louis has been blacklisted for ages, like, even though it's not, like, being explicitly said until, like, just last week. Like, it's just obvious. Like, there's other artists on BMG Records that are, like, constantly played on Radio 1. I mean, like, Louis Capaldi is literally on BMG Records. Like, he gets played non-stop on the radio. Like, the other day I was listening to the charts in the car and, like, I literally heard 3 Louis Capaldi songs on the radio, like, just in one, like, car ride. Like, they played, like, Wish You the Best, Forget Me, and, like, some other one. They played 3 songs by him on the radio. Like, he's getting so much promo, and, like, Louis also has a documentary out as well, and, like, that got so much promo as well, and, like, even people who don't even, like, follow Louis Capaldi or anything and don't listen to his music, like, know about his album, they know his songs, they know that he's got a documentary out. Like, so many people, like, know about it. Like, it's just, like, public knowledge, and, like, Louis deserves that also. The comparison between the two, like, I feel like if Louis got played on the radio and, like, he was allowed to have the promo that, like, Louis Capaldi and people like that have, like, I feel like he would really succeed. Like, you could also compare Louis to Bring Me the Horizon, because, like, they're also on BMG Records and get a lot of radio play on Radio 1. I mean, I compare Louis to, like, Ollie Sykes, like, quite a lot because, like, they remind me of each other a lot. I feel like they'd be really good friends. They should collab and, like, meet each other. That'd be cool. Yeah, but, like, they're quite an alternative band, and like they're on BMG and I hear them on the radio like at least once a week. So yeah, it does seem like it's something personal against Louis, and we've seen like with the interview with Lisa Wilkinson that like it is the record company's like responsibility to like get songs out to radio. And something else interesting that Lisa said in her interview, like she was saying like sort of like she wasn't going to get her heart set on like the idea of like them getting radio play for Louis, which suggests like they were expecting to be able to get radio play for him, which suggests also that they know something about him like not being able to get played. Like the fact that they thought like even before they went into BBC Radio and promoted him and like Bigger Than Me to the radio stations, it suggests that like before they even went in and did that, like they had it in their head already that they probably wouldn't be able to get radio play for him. And that also tells us like there's something suspicious going on. Also, like I wanted to mention like on BBC Radio 2, like a couple of weeks ago, Faith in the Future was album of the week. Like on Radio 2 they do like a thing where it's like they have an album of the week every week, and like at like 11 AM every day, like every weekday for the whole week they play like an album track from that album. And like they pick Faith in the Future in like January, and like I was really surprised because I was like, oh, Faith in the Future's finally getting played on the radio, and I was like really shocked about it. And like I listened to it on the radio like the first day on the Monday when they started like the Faith in the Future like album track playing, and like when like Ken Bruce, the radio host, was like talking about it, like he was introducing Faith in the Future and like talking about it, and like I don't know why like this was suspicious as well. Like the fact that like he just said like the fact that like when he was talking about Faith in the Future, like he basically didn't say anything about the album. It was really weird actually. Like he said like, oh, Faith in the Future is like the Sophomore album by Louis Tomlinson. Like his record company has sent this to us, and like he just like went on about like a thing about like how weird a word sophomore is, and he was like, oh, it's such an American word, like why don't people just say second album? Like he just talked about that and like nothing about the actual album for ages, and then like he finally played the song, and I think it was like Lucky Again that he played, and like it was just weird because like he was just like going on about that and no actual information about the album. Like he was just talking about what a weird word sophomore is, and like it was just like it made me annoyed really. And like the rest of the week, like when they were playing like the songs from Faith in the Future, like they picked like the absolute mildest songs on the album, like the absolute most chilled ones. Like they didn't want to let anyone know that Louis had like good songs basically. I mean, not that like the chilled ones on Faith in the Future aren't good songs. I mean, I love the entire album, you guys know that. But like, I mean, like they picked songs like Lucky Again and Angels Fly and like Common People, songs like that, when they should have been playing like Written All Over Your Face, like which should have been a single. We all thought it was going to be a single, but like at this point in time, like it's not been released as a single yet, but we all thought it would be. So yeah, Written All Over Your Face, single potential. They could have played Silver Tongues, the actual single. They could have played they could have even gone a bit rogue and played She Is Beauty, We Are World Class. I mean, that would make me happy. I mean, like, you guys know how I feel about that song. I would be absolutely in shock if that was played on the radio. Like, there's just so many, like, actual bangers on Faith in the Future, and, like, they completely, like, it seemed like on purpose that they avoided, like, playing the actual really good songs, like, to just, like, suggest, like, Louis' music wasn't that good, kinda. I mean, like, obviously those songs are really good, but I mean, like, the obvious choices, like, the big, like, single type songs that are, like, absolutely like mind-blowing songs, like they did not even play any of like those ones, and like that just upset me as well because like it was just weird, the whole thing. And another thing that I wanted to say about Faith in the Future being album of the week, when it was album of the week on Radio 2, like the point of the album of the week thing is that like a song from the album is supposed to be played by like each DJ during like their airtime on the radio. Like in each DJ's show, like they're supposed to play a song from that album in each show. And like the weird thing was that like Faith in the Future only got like one song at the 11 AM like promo time, and then like the rest of the time, like when the album was promoted, like people were saying like the only other times that they heard songs from the album other than at 11 AM were at like weird times early in the morning, like literally 4 AM, 5 AM. They were playing like Angels Fly, and like that's just weird because like it's supposed to be like one song every couple of hours from the album, and like the fact they were choosing like such obscure times when like literally no one is even awake to promote the album like it's just so yeah, like it seems like the radio is purposely avoiding Louis, which also tells us that he's blacklisted, like before we even knew that. I wish like Matt Vines could take on the responsibility of like sorting out the promo and stuff, because I know he would get the job done. I mean, like BMG are doing a good job, like they're doing everything they can. Like everyone's blaming BMG and people are actually like sending hate to Lisa Wilkinson and stuff, saying like, oh, like you're not doing enough, like it's your job to do this, like it's your job, like Louis pays you to do your job and like promote him, why are you not doing it? And like people are sending so much hate to BMG, and like personally, like I get why people are angry. I feel like BMG could do like different techniques to promote Louis if they're not getting radio play. Like they could try like TikTok trends, even though Louis hates TikTok. Like we all know like TikTok songs get in the charts, like that's how the music industry works a lot these days, and like unfortunately that's the way it is. So like they could try a trend thing, or like just other techniques to promote Louis. But I feel like the issue with radio play and stuff is like bigger than BMG. It's bigger than them, no pun intended. Like it's bigger than like them as a company. Like it's like people who are higher up than them, higher up than even the radio stations, like that control all this stuff. Like it's not in their power to be able to do something about Louis not being played on the radio. Like if he's blacklisted, like that's not really something they could do much about. Like it's the people who own the radios like responsibility if like they wanted to change that. Like if the guys who own the BBC radio stations are watching this video right now, sort out your radio playlisting. But yeah, I wish like they could give like the responsibility of the radio stuff like to Matt Vines. I feel like he would sort out the radios, like, but unfortunately like that's not really his job either. He's like more like the social media campaigns and that sort of stuff. And also I just wanted to say, like, in relation to like radio play being like the record company's like responsibility and like not really like the manager's responsibility, like I just wanted to say, like, to sort of prove that, like, because I know like a lot of people do hate on Matt Vines, but like he literally does his best for his artists. I mean personally, like as someone who's also been a Hertz fan for like ages, like he's always fought for them, like he always fights for his artists, like, and like he does what he can for people, but like I feel like a lot of this stuff is like way out of the control of the manager, so like I feel like it's not fair. It's like pretty mean to like hate on like people who like don't really have control over that sort of side of things. So yeah, like I don't think people should be hating on Matt Vines. I mean like I feel like he's just like a really nice guy, and people like just hate on him when like they don't really understand like a lot of like the way like the industry works and stuff. I mean like I'm not an expert either, I just use like sort of my like knowledge from like my media degrees combined with like being a fan of both Hertz and Louis, like to sort of like show my like sort of knowledge that I have about like those two fandoms combined with like the record companies that they've been part of. I just share that with you guys because I have that insight from being part of those two fandoms, like, and those being like some of my main fandoms. I just like share that with you guys and like share what I know, because like I've seen like a lot of people like just say stuff like on the internet without really like knowing that much about like what they're trying to like express. So I just make videos about stuff like this to like sort of make things a bit clearer for you guys and like give you a bit of an insight into like my opinions as like someone in the Hertz and Louis fandom. Like the fact that I'm in like multiple fandoms that involve like Matt Vines and like Sony Music, and just talk about things like that, like for you guys' entertainment, and also like to just like explain things a bit. Yeah, I'm not claiming that I'm like an expert or anything. Like I just have a lot of random knowledge about these things, and like I just like am passionate about it and want to share it with you guys. But yeah, what I was going to talk about is like how like the radio play and stuff is like completely really the record company's responsibility and not like the responsibility of the manager, aka Matt Vines. So Hertz have been signed to Matt Vines since like they were in their early 20s, like they've been with him forever. Like he literally like brought them up like in the music industry, like, and like for their first 4 albums they were signed to Sony Music, and like during their time on Sony Music, like I remember like in my childhood like I heard them on the radio all the time, and like in more recent years, in like 2017, not that recent but like that's the last time they were like on TV and promoting an album and stuff. Like I remember them being on like Sounds Like Friday Night and shows like that, like the Top of the Pops remake. Like I used to love that show. I'm so sad there aren't really like music shows like that on TV anymore. Like that's another thing that I'm going to cover in another video, like where are like all the music TV shows going, and like why do we not really have like shows like Top of the Pops and Sounds Like Friday Night anymore in the UK. Like I'm going to make a video about that in the future hopefully, because I feel like that's something interesting that I've been like thinking about a lot recently and want to talk to you guys about. But yeah, they were on Sounds Like Friday Night, and I also used to hear Ready to Go, their song, a lot on Radio 2 like in 2017, and like I was surprised when like I actually properly got into Hurts that like I knew so many songs by them but like didn't realise they made those songs, and that was because like they were always on in the radio in the background kinda. So yeah, they were on the radio and on the TV quite a lot, like in like when they were promoting their first 4 albums from like 2010 until like 2017, 2018. But then after they made their own record company, Lento Records, they released their 5th album, Faith, on that record company instead of like Sony. Like their contract with Sony ended, they decided not to renew it and just set up their own record company and released their 5th album on that. And then after that happened, like they disappeared completely from the media. Like I never heard like any songs from Faith played on Radio 2 like or Radio 1 either, but like, they were more likely to have been played on Radio 2, but like there was nothing at all. Like even the lead single Voices, I never even heard it on the radio, and like they weren't on the TV either. Like I remember like in lockdown I literally listened to Theo Hutchcraft do an interview promoting Voices, the main single from the album, on BBC Radio Merseyside. Like literally BBC Radio Merseyside, like not Radio 1, not Radio 2, Radio Merseyside. He's not even literally from Liverpool, he's literally a Yorkshire lad, and Hurts formed in Manchester, so like he has no connection to Liverpool. And the fact that the Radio 1 and 2 headquarters are in Manchester near my university, like the fact like the actual headquarters are in Manchester, and like he's from Manchester and they didn't even invite him, like. But like I've actually been on a local like BBC radio station before myself, like when I was like 16. If you guys don't know this, like I wrote and published my own book, like a self-published novel, and like I actually went on BBC Radio Lancashire to do some like promo for it, and like I did like an interview and like promoted it on the radio a bit, and like from my experience doing that, like I kind of have like some like knowledge of what it's like to like go into a local BBC radio station and do an interview. I mean like Theo's interview was over the phone like on Radio Merseyside, so like it's not really the same because like it was in COVID times when that happened, like in 2020. But like my interview that I did in 2019, like I feel like I have a bit of like insider knowledge to share with you guys. So like my knowledge to give you is that like it's pretty easy to get on like local BBC radio stations. I mean like when I did it, like at the time I had like a bit of a PR person who like promoted me for people. I don't know why that kind of makes me sound like a bit of a celebrity, but like I'm literally not a celebrity. But like when I was in 6th form I had like a PR lady, and like she contacted BBC Radio Lancashire for me, and like I only got on the radio because like it was literally just like me and like my PR lady like doing the promo together, like pushing for me to get onto Radio Lancashire. Like it was just like us sort of like promoing ourselves to get on there. So like I think that's like what Theo and like Matt Vines did to get on BBC Radio Merseyside. Like it was just them like trying to get on the radio themselves and like do all the promo themselves. I think Theo and Matt Vines did that same thing together, like trying to get onto BBC Radio Merseyside themselves. Like I think they just like worked together to promo the album, and like they just went on the radio and did it like that. So basically like the same level of like promo that I got, like when I was literally like a schoolgirl promoting just like a little book that I wrote, like I had the same promo that Hurts did for like the Faith album, basically like the same amount of promo, which is just crazy to me. I literally had like the same amount of promo as like one of my idols, which is like it should not have been that way. Like Theo should have had like way more interviews than that. Like I mean that's what happens when like you decide to release your album independently. As I released a self-published book, like it's sort of the same thing, like just having to like work yourself to do your own promo and like work with whoever's like managing or promoting you like to get what you want. But like I feel like Hurts and like Theo have always been like really good at like just sort of like hustling to get what they want and get their promo. Like for Faith, like they only had a little bit of promo, and like Theo and Adam did it all themselves with like a bit of help from Matt Vines. They literally just like worked at it, and then they got the #1 in the indie album charts, and they got #6 in the normal charts. They basically did that with like zero promo, just like Louis. So like that just shows like how hard they work. Like this is exactly why I think like why it was a genius idea of Matt Vines to set up Theo and Louis to become friends with each other, because this is like why they get on so well. Like they're just so similar. The fact that they both left like Sony Music and like went and did like another album on like an independent label and like did everything like themselves with like zero promo and just like worked at it because like they're just good businessmen basically. Also the fact that they both like rely on like touring to be like their main source of income, like they just like don't get any radio play in the UK in particular, so like they like don't rely on that, so like they don't depend on like the radio playing them to get paid basically. Like they work harder and like tour to get their money. Also the fact that both of their main fan bases aren't in the UK, like Hurt's main fan base is in like Eastern Europe and Louis has his main fan base in like South America, so like they have that link as well. Also like the fact that like they both have like nearly entirely like female fan bases, and like they both like have sisters that are younger than them, so like they sort of like give off like big brother vibes. Like they have that similarity too, like the fact they just like sort of take care of their female fan base like that. So yeah, I can definitely see why they're friends and why they get on, and like I hope they collab forever. Also the other day I found like an interview with Matt Vines on like a website called Music News or something. It was released like in November when Faith in the Future came out in the first place, and like I hadn't seen this interview until like a couple of weeks ago though when I was reading it, and like it was really nice, and like it was basically Matt Vines talking about like the similarities between Hertz and Louis, and like how he sort of like manages both of them, and like the similarities between like how he works with both of them. And he actually said in this interview like he purposefully like copied the techniques that he used to promote Faith for the promotion of Faith in the Future. And when I was saying this in like one of my other previous videos, like I thought, oh, isn't it funny that they're both like managed by Matt Vines and they both like were promoted with anagrams and everything. Like Matt Vines purposefully like chose the anagram like strategy and like promotion campaign like for both of them, like, and he actually said in like this interview like he copied the strategies that he used for the Hertz boys with Louis, and like he said like, oh, like we've seen it work once with them already, so why don't we like try the same technique again, because of like Louis having like a fan base that isn't really in the UK, like maybe like the same strategies could work. He actually like was talking about this and like saying like he sees a lot of similarities between them too, and like he's made them more similar like himself basically. So like everyone say thank you Matt Vines for this collaboration. Also like there was a cute bit where he was talking about like how he's known Hertz since they were literally like in their early 20s. Like I said, like he's managed them since like the very beginning, and he was talking about like how at the very beginning like Theo and Adam would like spend all their money on getting the megabus from Manchester to London, and they were going to like the service station and changing to like second-hand suits, and like they would just like put on a brave face and go in and like just like go to take meetings with record labels and just like hustle for their money basically. They would go back to Matt Vines' house and like he would let them stay with him, and like Hertz would be like we don't have any money like because we spent all our money on the megabus and like getting our outfits and everything, and like Matt would give them the money to like pay for food and stuff and like let them stay with him. He talks about how they would just like sit at the kitchen table like editing their demos of songs and stuff, like mixing their tracks like just at his kitchen table like before they were big, and like that's just really cute, and also like really brave of Theo and Adam honestly, because like they were 21, 22ish like when they were doing this, and like I'm 21, nearly 22 now, and like I can't imagine literally like going to London by myself with like no prior experience of London at all. I mean, I don't have any experience of London but would love to go. So, like if I went on the megabus from Manchester to London and like I just like had to take meetings with people, like I can't imagine how brave Theo and Adam must have had to be to like do this. Like I mean, I can't even like ask for a straw at a fast food haunted restaurant without like getting scared. Like the fact that they were doing this and just like going out there and getting like what they deserved at a young age, and like I can't even imagine doing that. Like, anyway, like it's shocking that like the BBC seem to be like not playing Hurts anymore either, because like they used to love them and promote them all the time. I mean, like they actually like started out in the first place on BBC introducing, I mean, like Theo did like other projects way before that, and like he had like several of the bands that he was in, and so like BBC introducing wasn't his start really, but like they did get like quite a lot of promo from BBC introducing and like being promoted on radio and stuff. I mean, like that wasn't actually like where they started out in the first place. Like where they actually like properly got famous was from like the video for their first single, Wonderful Life, going like viral on the internet on YouTube. That was how they properly got discovered. So like maybe they could have survived without radio play, but like the BBC radio like elevated them and like made them like way more famous. Also, yes, I have seen the news recently about Oliver Keane opening for Hurts at their Germany show. Like, I mean, I'm going to make a separate video about that for you guys, because like I have too much to say and I don't want to be like going on about other things and like going off on a tangent in this video too much, although like I probably have. A lot of my videos I end up just doing that anyway. But yeah, I'm going to make another video about that where I talk about like the support acts for Louis' North American tour also, so I'm going to talk about that on this channel in a new video. But yeah, just know that like I desperately wish I was going to Germany to see Hurts and like Oliver Keane. Like the Hurts and Louis universes crossing once again. Like that lineup was like literally for me, and I'm not even going to be there, which is so sad. But hopefully someone will upload it to YouTube and I can just like watch it in my house. But yeah, back to talking about Louis. So what are we going to do about Louis being blacklisted? Well, someone was like spreading a sticker around saying like stop blacklisting artists and like play Louis Tomlinson on it. Like a sticker that you could just like print out and stick on like public places. Like I'll see if I can find like the link to that. If I can find it, I'll put it in the description. And then like if you guys print out that sticker, you can go like stick it somewhere. Like if your school has a place where like you can like just stick stickers, or like a lot of people stick like promotional stickers on like lamp posts and stuff in Manchester. I see them a lot. Like I always read like the stickers people put on lamp posts on my way to uni. So like if you live in like an area like that, I think they do it in London as well. A lot of people promote stuff by putting stickers on lampposts. If you do that and like put the sticker somewhere like that, then people will read it and like it'll help us get the message out about Louis being blacklisted. And also there's the hashtags trending, hashtag Louis on the BBC and also hashtag Louis deserves better. These two hashtags have been trending for like a week now. Like people haven't stopped using them yet, which is so good. Like hopefully we're getting the awareness out. And also like there's a campaign going on at the moment on change.org with like people signing a petition to get Louis played on the radio. I'll definitely put the link to that in the description, because like I've saved the link to it and like I've signed the petition. And so yeah, if you guys want Louis to be played on the radio more, sign this petition. I've put my name to it already and you should too. But yeah, I'll put that link in the description. Love the vibe of the fandom at the moment, like the fact that we're taking it into our own hands. Like it's a bit punk, isn't it? There's a little bit of like anarchy going on. Also something else that you could do is like send in complaints emails to BBC radio stations like Radio 1, Radio 2, all of those. I've seen like a lot of people are doing that already, and you could just like go on the BBC radio station's website and like find out like how to send a complaint. Like there's lots of people on Twitter who've already like tweeted like the emails that you could contact to complain about Louis not being played on the radio. They've already like shared those emails, so you could find them on Twitter like that, or you could just go on the BBC radio website and like find the contact emails, and like you could send them a bit of like you could send them some complaints telling them that you want to hear Louis on the radio and like asking like why he's not being played. Like you could try that, and I know a lot of people have done that already. I've seen lots of people sharing like their complaints on the internet, and there's like lots of people sharing like sort of like the way you should set out like your argument and stuff, like if you're going to send a complaint by emails for a radio station. So you can follow those and like find the emails and try that if you wanted to. I mean, these people who've done this and sent complaints, like they've been getting a lot of like sort of automated responses and being told like the issue isn't going to be like further investigated and things like that. They've been getting those kinds of like annoying responses, but like who knows, like maybe we'll get like a silver tongues response with like if we do it enough, like, it'll happen. Like, we'll get a result from it. Maybe we'll, like, maybe so many Louies will complain that eventually they'll have to start playing him on the radio. So yeah, we can make a change if, like, we all group together and do it. And, like, if there's any fandom that can do that, it's Louies. Also, another idea that I had is, like, if you guys are record collectors and, like, if you shop at record shops, like, in some record shops there's like blackboards where you can go up and, like, write on them like any albums that you want to promote, or, like, that you recommend to people, like artists that people should listen to, stuff like that. Like, in like one of my local record shops, Wax and Beans, like, they have one of those. Like, they have a board where you can go up and just, like, write, like, artists and albums and stuff that you care about on them, and, like, they have usually, like, a question of the day saying, like, what artist do you think is underrated, or, like, what do you think's, like, the best album of all time, stuff like that. And you can go up and, like, write on it and answer the questions. And I always, like, promote my favourite artists on it. So, like, if I'm there, like, anytime soon, I'll go in and probably write something about Louis or Faith in the Future if, like, a question comes up on the board that I can, like, sort of force Louis into, like, fitting with. If any of you guys live near Wax and Beans and, like, you shop there, like, if I see anyone who's, like, written, like, Faith in the Future or Louis Tomlinson as the answer to anything when I go in, like, that would make me smile, because, like, someone else is already doing, like, their job there. So yeah, that record shop near me does that. So if I'm there anytime soon, I'll go and write something about Louis. But like I think lots of other record shops do that too. And, like, if, like, a record shop you shop at does that and, like, has a blackboard in it to write, like, artist names or album names on, you should go and, like, put something about Louis as well, and, like, do a bit of promo, like, do BMG's job for them. So yeah, those are some, like, just ideas that I had of, like, ways you could promote Louis or, like, raise awareness about him being blacklisted. If you guys have any ideas yourselves, like, put them in the comments below and let me know what you think, or any ideas that you've thought of, and, like, it'll be interesting to go through them, and you might give me some ideas too. So that's everything that I wanted to talk about in this video. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to for more music and pop culture content, and don't forget to stream Faith in the Future. Bye guys!